Hey everyone, in today's video we're going to learn how to make this cute Moana cake topper. So I've got some skin tone Saraceno and I've coloured it with a little bit of chestnut sugar flare. We're going to start off with the legs. Now they're quite chunky and you can see that I'm just gently pushing in the area for the foot at the bottom. Not too much detail is going to be on here because we're going to cover it with some sand. And they're kind of a bit thick. This is Baby Moana, so she is quite chunky. And we're just going to use the bench just to push that down onto to make sure the foot bit is flat. And then once we've done that, we're going to work around the knee area and the ankle. So you can see how I've just tapered in a little bit above the foot and above the knee as well. And so I'm just putting in a line there just to define that a little bit more, just with one of my soft tip tools. Try to get them roughly the same size. It's really difficult to get them the same size, but as long as they roughly look alike, that will be fine. We're going to pop these to one side and just let them firm up a little bit. Chop off the top, and now we're going to work on the body. So we're going to start with a ball and we're going to teardrop it, and the smaller area of the teardrop is going to become the neck. So you can see where I'm pulling at the neck just to give it some definition. Now this is just a matter of playing with it until you are happy. So we're just going to use our fingers to press down the chest area, and we want to round off the belly a little bit as well. So you can see I'm just pushing down on the chest area but leaving the belly a little bit full. I'm going to mark out that belly area just with a brush, just to define it a little bit more. And be careful not to leave the shoulders too rounded. You want them to be quite squared off. Now obviously because she's a baby, she's not got broad shoulders. I'm going to trim off the bottom and then just re-go over everything. Sometimes when you cut, it can make the shape change a little bit. And we're just going to test it for size against our legs. A little mark for a belly button. And then we're just going to trim some white fondant and taper it in at either side. So just round off those edges. This is going to create the little bit of a skirt that she's got. So just smoothing it all over. And we're literally just going to wrap it from front to back. Just secure it with a little bit of water, and then what we're going to do is we're going to attach the top of the body to the bottom of the body. So kebab skewer through the neck. You want to angle it to one side so that when it comes through, it's going to go through one of the legs. This is just to give us some stability. I'm going to dry it in a 4-inch polystyrene dummy, as you can see. You may need to reshape it once you pop it in there, just to make sure that you've still got the shape that we started off with. So same white fondant as before, we're going to cut a strip, and this is going to wrap around Moana, and it's just going to create the little skirt that she wears, like so. Okay, now it's time for the face. So we're going to mark halfway through an oval shaped piece of fondant, and then we're going to smooth that over just with our hands. Be careful to level off the sides, so when you mark that area in through the middle, you want to make sure that you tuck it in on either side of the face. With your little fingers, we're just going to create some eye sockets. So you could use a ball tool if you've got long nails. And then a tiny little bit of the skin tone fondant just for the nose. Now we are going to blend in the nose just with our fingers and a Dresden tool, just pulling that section of the nose up just to blend it in a little bit. And just smoothing it over with your fingers just to make sure that it keeps that kind of like round button nose shape. You can see I've just put in some nostrils there, and just with the Dresden tool I'm just smoothing over those areas again. Just being careful not to move it too much out of shape. You want it to be the same on both sides. And just using your fingers just to really smooth that out. So a dot either side for the mouth We're going to mark across with the scalpel tool. And then we're just going to use the end of a brush just to sort of define where the lips are and where the cheeks are. So you're just going to imprint really gently and kind of push it away to the side, and that's going to create the sort of like a nice cheek area. Going over any areas that you've amended, and then a tiny little bit of fondant, kind of like oval shape but pointed at the sides, and we're going to stick that on for the lips, just pushing it into place. And then we're going to use a scalpel tool just to separate that and give us two lips, one at the top and one at the bottom. Pushing in with the Dresden tool just to create that lip at the top just a little bit bigger, and then going around the face at the bottom just to take off now the chunk that is underneath the neck, using your fingers just to push it out and then removing the excess with a knife. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to shape the eyes. So this is just using a Dresden tool, and we're going to start in the middle of the eye. So we're just going to mark out where we want the corner of the eye to be, and we're going to build up. Now she's got quite big eyes, quite cartoony eyes, so you really want to push the fondant up. With the finer Dresden tool, the pointed one, you can go in on the corner just to bring it down a little bit. But it really is just about making that shape before we put in the whites of the eyes. So once we've done that, we're going to roll sort of like a fat rice grain of white, and we're just going to pop that in the eye socket using your Dresden tool to pull up and to pull down, and that leaves the bulk of the white in the eye, and it will give you sort of like a really nice shaped eye. Instead of it being flat, it'll kind of be a little bit curved if you pull from the middle down and not pushing it down. Now, if you've seen my videos before, you'll know that I like to use the same colour of the skin tone that I've used with Moana for brown eyes. So I will get a really small ball of that, pop it on the centre of where I want it to go, and then I'm using my Dresden tool to pull that colour where I want it to go. It's so much easier than painting it on, and because it's so small you get like a really lovely effect. Now when we're painting on the eyes, they're darker at the top than they are at the bottom, so we're going to shade in that area first, and then we're just going to mark around the eyes and just wet them and pull that colour through. They do want to be a lot lighter at the bottom than they are at the top, so we're going to build up that colour at the top. So just adding more colour to the top of the eye than is at the bottom. With the eyeliner, you can see that I've rolled a piece of fondant that's pointier at one end than it is the other. I'm just going to lay that on and push it into place with a Dresden tool, trim off the excess, and then do the same for the other side of the face. Tiny little bit of black for the centre of the eye, and then an even smaller bit of white for the light in the eye. So that's what it looks like when both of them are done. We're going to lightly draw out the eyebrow, colouring that in. If you make a mistake, you can just go over it with a little bit of water to remove it. I've got some rose dust. We're going to dust the nose and the cheeks. We're going to do the chin and the middle of the forehead. And then we're just going to paint the lower lid in the dark brown. And then I've mixed some of the brown with the skin tone colour, and I'm just painting this on for the lips. Now we're going to make the necklace. So some small teardrop shapes. We're just going to take a piece of black fondant for the actual necklace, pinch it at the back to stick it together, and then these teardrops, we're just going to mark a line in the middle. I think they're supposed to be some kind of shells or something like that, and then just with a brush with a little bit of water on, we're just going to pick those up and stick those on around the necklace. I think I did 7 in total. Always keep it at an odd number. So now we're going to make the hair. So I've literally got a piece of black fondant and I'm just going to sort of roll it into a ball, and then we're just going to flat out the edges. You want the bulk of the fondant to remain at the back, and that's going to stop you from having a flat head back with your figure. And then we're just going to push it on the head. So I didn't realise I was out of camera for that little bit, but I'll try to describe exactly what I'm doing. I'm pulling the fondant forward so that there's a smooth join between the skin and the head. And we're making sure that the back is nice and rounded. So that's what it looks like when this part's gone on. It kind of reminds me a bit of a swimming cap. I've then rolling out another bit of fondant that's kind of in a bit of a rounded V. And this is going to create the peak of her hair, the widow's peak that she's got. And we're just going to shape that around the face. So just pulling it down where we want it to go. Smoothing it in to the skin. And then we're just going to mark that up just with a soft brush tool or a leaf tool. And then once we've marked all of that up for the hair, we're going to roll kind of like a witch's hat. And then you're going to curl it to resemble her like little hair that she's got when she's in the sea. So this is the bit where the waves come and they twist around her hair and they give her this sort of hairstyle that's twisted up. We're going to mark in the hem with the scalpel tool. So we'll put a list of all the tools that I've used in the description box below. And then we're going to stick that on the centre of her head. Now where there's the join, we're going to wet our Dresden tool and we're just going to cover that line up. Now it will look quite sticky, but once it's dry, you will not be able to see any of the stickiness that's there. So now we're going to work on the arms. Similar to the legs, we're going to pinch for the palm of the hand, and then we're just going to twist it between our fingers just to thin it down a little bit. Now this hand is coming up, so we want to cut out a triangle for the thumb, round off the thumb and that join, that separation that we've just made. We're going to press it against the bench and pinch the palm of the hand between your finger and forethumb, and that is going to create sort of like that effect that it's separated. So you can see where I have made that effect just by pushing that in. So we're going to make a line where the fingers would be and cut in four slits with the scalpel, and we're going to round off these fingers that we've just done. Now you will need to support this arm while it is drying. I have used no internal supports or anything like that, just a little bit of water where I've attached it to the body, and then I have left it overnight just to dry with a cup that was propping up her hand. For the flower, I've done some small teardrops in pink, 5 of them, and then stuck them together and just wrapped them around a ball tool to give that impression that the flower is sort of half open, half closing. A darker bit of pink in the middle, and then we're just going to stick this on with a little bit of water to the top of the hair. Finally, we need to paint a few semicircles on her dress for detailing. And here's what she should look like when she's done. Here's the finished cake. So the sand is just sugar, and I have done an isomalt wave. I will do a live in my Facebook group on how to make that. If you have enjoyed this video, please give a thumbs up. Don't forget to leave a comment down below. And if you'd like to see more of my videos, please click the links in the screen now. Thanks for watching.